All right. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome. We are here for another edition of Fun. We're spiritual people, but we're going to have fun. With me is a brother of mine. We've known each other for an absolute age. We just figured out the last time we would sit in an interview situation was over 10 years ago. So I concluded that I was so bad at the job, he just avoided me. He's done everyone else's interview. Pastor Gabriel Eziashi.
That's so not true. You're simply the best, and I'm not trying to make you feel good. That's the whole truth. But thank you for having me here.
Well, thank you for coming. So I've got some questions. You know, I don't print out questions. I've been doing this for an age, and I don't have. But you made me print out questions.
Why?
Because it's just the nerves.
Oh no.
Okay. Am I correct in thinking that it was someone saying to you, well, a big push to you giving your life to Jesus was someone saying to me, you bore me.
Yes.
Who on earth was that? That was
as long as you all promise not to laugh. It was a lady I was dating. Oh God, help me. Oh, 1993. I was dating this lady, and we had a wonderful relationship for 2 years. And then we both gained admission into different high institutions. And then one summer I went to visit her. By this time she was out there just living life.
Okay.
And then she got back from her outing, saw me at the door like, "What are you doing here?" "Hey, I came to visit my girlfriend." And then she looked at me, "Man, I don't want to see you. You bore me." I thought I was gonna die, bro. But I'm glad she did, man, because now.
So hold on. What would you say to her now?
Oh.
Now, not the old pastor about it. I mean, keep it PG, but you know.
Okay. God bless you.
Let's just leave it there.
Please, let's leave it there. You don't want me to go.
Okay.
Don't let me leave Jesus out.
Instagram family, Facebook family, TikTok family. What would you say to her?
Oh, yeah, good.
Considering we've just had many moments, we've had my praise, we've got this kind God, we've got a whole world.
I got you over the whole world.
What would you say to her? Okay. So now, most people when they propose, they would, well, I say most people. I'm just thinking. Sometimes I said most people. I remembered my wife, and I looking at me like, why didn't you? So they have flowers, they have chocolates, they have. Some people take over. You know, London. You lived in London for many years until you eloped to America.
Oh, nice.
You know, people in London, they'll take over cinemas and do all that.
Right.
But you did yours from a prison.
Yes.
What was that about? And what made you think she was going to even consider your proposal from a prison?
Well, when you know, you know. And once you have a confirmation, God helping you, you just do what you need to do.
God needed to help you.
He did.
So first of all, what were you doing in prison?
I got into the wrong crowd. Visited United Kingdom, wanted to stay, literally my visa, overstayed my visa. I wanted to remain there. Who wants to suffer? Who wants to go back to where things aren't working? So I got into this crowd who sold me stolen passport. Apparently they broke into the Austrian passport bank and I paid £1,500
Back then.
1997. Hard work. I worked in the cold, man. And I paid, and as soon as I got it, I knew it was wrong. I was a Christian, so I'm not trying to make anybody feel. I was a Christian, tongue-talking, spirit-filled. And I thought, okay, I just wanted to live life good, at least. Yeah. And lo and behold, wanted to come to America. And that was where I was arrested. You know, and the moment they arrested me, don't laugh. How did you get it? I got it from somebody who did it, and I paid $1,500. I
messed up everything
straight up. I tell you,
you didn't need the Holy Spirit conviction there.
No. I sang, and the guys with all their arms, everybody just leave him alone. This one does.
These ain't a real guy. This is not a real criminal.
I could tell, and that was it. So I was sentenced to prison 6 months, but to do 3 months of serving concurrent because they charged me with 2 things: possession of stolen goods and using it as an instrument.
Right.
And the judge was leaning and said, this guy was just trying to make life out of it. So while in there, I went through the repentance, the whole thing, and I was saying, Father, no, this lady's in my life. What are we doing together? And then right there, he showed me in a dream where he literally took me into her parents' home. And right in the living room was her older brother's wedding photograph. And right beneath that was our wedding photograph. So I thought,
wow.
That's my wife.
Wow.
And she was to visit me the following day with another pastor, Pastor Tunde. And so when she came in, I told her, I said, babe, see, I don't have much time. I have nothing. I mean, this is the worst test, if there's a word like that, a man could ever be to do this. But I know what I know. And I know you're my wife. Will you marry me?
Right.
And I promise you, if you do, I'll take you around the world. I'll never forget. She looked at me and laughed.
You would have laughed.
She laughed. But this is the reason for her. The reason for her laughing was that the day she stepped into, then we both attended Jesus' house. The day she stepped into Jesus' house, I was leading prayer. As she opened the door, she said to me, she heard a voice that said, that is your husband. She hadn't seen my face, all she did was hear my voice.
Wow.
So she was only waiting. And she said yes.
Wow.
And that's 26 years now.
Gosh. And you traveled the world?
Oh, Lord.
Well, so now, an interesting thing, something that interests me. One of the things, you know, my brother passed.
Yes.
Who you knew quite well. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for your words of encouragement and comfort. They were quite kind. One of the things that he struggled with was he, as you know, he was mentor to a lot of artists.
Oh,
You know.
Jesus.
Some of the well-known names now, he, as they say, carried them on his head. But I think occasionally he would feel a little slighted by how, because you know how things go. You know, people get big and they get big. I mean, you could name people who you coached and worshipped whilst you were in Jesus' house. People you gave opportunities to, who probably would, you know, on social media they would rather mention
Other big names.
you know. But for you, talking about giving flowers, who are some? Oh, just one person actually. Maybe if you can want to do more than one. Unsung hero for you that people may not know, but you would like to give them their flowers.
This is the easiest question you'd ask me. And my unsung hero is right in front of me interviewing me.
Oh, for goodness
And I'll
sakes,
tell you,
man.
I'll tell you.
They was think it's planned.
No, it's not planned. Please believe me when I say this to you. The first time I knew the ministry God has called me into is music, and I wanted to have my music recorded. The person I went to was Muyiwa. And please pardon me, I call him Egbon Muyiwa. That's just African. We respect our elders. And I remember calling him. He doesn't want me to say this. I'm going to say this one. And I remember calling him and asking him questions. Now, these were the things he did that blew my mind, and it helped me, and it's still helping me to date. Number one, he's older than me. In African culture, in Nigerian culture, Yoruba culture to be specific, your elders don't come to you. He left his office in central London, drove to my office, sat in my office, literally tutored me, educated me. He didn't stop there. He gave me his own producer, Eddie Martins, am I correct?
Yeah.
And the band he used, his singers, his musicians, the entire thing, and that was the platform I've been riding on till date. So he's number one. The second person is his brother. The first ever gig, and I'm not saying this to get attention, that's the whole truth. The first ever gig I got in Nigeria that made sense was your brother, Big B. He just called me and said, Gabriel, so state governor's wife is turning 60 and they mentioned your name. From everything to anything, he did it. All I did was show up at the airport, and the aircraft took me to Nigeria. And when I was there, he walked up to me and said, are you good? I said, yes, and get back home. That was it.
Incredible. You know, I heard so many stories like that when at his home going. It was just emotional. I thought, when did they do all this? Anyhow, let's park that. Let's park that. Gear change. This guy go. The whole and their brother doing it, right? But is there a moment, because of knowing you and knowing some of your story, I understand the weight of those words more than the vibe or the rhythm that we all write, or the Gen Zs jumped to. Are there moments where you've sang that song, sang those lyrics, this kind God, and you've had to stop because you were too emotional?
Oh yeah. First and foremost, that tone, that pitch, it was never planned. I guess it's the first time I'm going to say this on a major interview. I did that belting out of pain, out of gratitude. I just transitioned from one church to the other, and it was messy, painful. When you've spent almost a decade somewhere and the Lord is saying do something and everything was flipped. And I'm wondering, I heard God before making a move, so at this point, can't I hear God? But I'm grateful to God. And we just did the song. It's a medley. We never planned it doing that, but I knew at that point, reflection now, I was so angry and I just went for it. I just poured my heart and the Lord sat on it. And after then, I've been to some places where all I was able to do was just that first pitch, and I could literally feel the tears welling up, and I'll just back out and leave people to do the shouting without them knowing that this guy was just saying, hey, calm down, Gabriel. It's all, this kind God, truly, another one never exists.
So talking about obedience, talking about following God's instructions. There's a question around the cost of obedience when it isn't popular. And I say this from a particular story that I'm very familiar with. You were House on the Rock.
Yeah.
You sang.
Yeah.
You did your thing.
Yeah.
And you got blasted, right?
Yeah.
Very publicly. So, very quickly, what do you remember of that moment and of that incident, and how you were judged by some, and what would you say is the cost of being obedient when it's not popular?
What do I think about the moment? Here are the feelings.
What do you remember? So when you think about it, what pictures do you see?
My inability to sing. I picked up the mic to sing. Songs weren't coming. All I was hearing was what I was told to say. I fought it, but I couldn't. Then I delivered what I had to do. And obviously, it wasn't, like you say, it wasn't popular. It wasn't received. And I've learned a few things. But hindsight, I will still repeat, and I'll say it over and over again. I would rather obey God. Will men be happy? Not all the time. I mean, I can tell you 99.9% of the time, men will not be happy. But please do everything to make sure you obey God. Because that is where your sustainability remains. That is where the capacity and the capability to keep living life as He would have you live it. But hindsight, what have I learned from it? I've also learned to make sure that when something is laid on your heart, look for avenues to make sure you meet the person one-on-one. Which I tried. This is the first time I'm saying this. I tried. But you know how it is, you have a plethora of protocols, and if one blocks, they disseminate the information, they block the whole thing. But here you are, a young boy, giving up a platform when millions are watching, and it was just a gag, just nothing, couldn't come out. Not until I voiced it, then my voice was released.
Wow. So which, I'm out of time already, but there's so much more I wanted to ask. So your story has many layers. There's a story of the young boy who worked with mother in the food business. There's the story of the young boy who fried akara, who's something of a meal for us in Nigeria. There's a chapter of it that's the young man leading hundreds of thousands in worship. So if there was a moment of a showdown, as it were, to back up a devil, which one would do it better? The young boy who was on the streets doing his thing, or the big man leading worship? Who do you think?
Oh Lord, that's so unfair. Because both narrate God's awesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
For us all, we must have a story. So when you come to the point where you're leading zillions of people to Christ, you came from somewhere. Everybody must have a story. Do I regret ever coming through at the age of 5, learning how to fry stew, at the age of 7, hawking, at the age of 13, selling carrier bags? Those are one of those days where I'm saying, God, deliver me. And then God delivered. And now here you are, leading worship, touring the world. They are all a moment in time I never want to forget. Because it keeps me grounded. It keeps me going. It reminds me that it was never me, it was never about me, but about a God who chose and decided to show up.
So I have one more question,
Okay, so
but I have to just let you know, for me as an artist and a worship leader, there are a few people who influenced me, who I admired, and I studied them vocally. There's a young man that you know very well, a good friend of ours, Remy Odumisi was one. Samuel Poso was another one. And another one that really always did it for me was Gabriel Eziashi.
Oh.
That vocal, it was more than vocal agility. It's just a mix of the agility, the grit and everything. I don't know how you guys do it. I'd be like, the three of you, any given day, even if I just fell off a tree, you guys start, it gets me going. But anyhow, just letting you know that. One final thing, but one question. You've done hundreds of thousands, thousands of interviews you've done over the years, right? So about everything you've been asked, but what one question has no interviewer ever asked you that you wish you'd been asked?
That one has got me thinking. Is there any question I haven't been asked? That's the question. Because
But you wish you'd been asked.
I wished. Probably I wish somebody would have asked, how are you?
But no one cares. Just no one cares. Just so long as we got the numbers, and we're about to clip this one.
There you go. Just simply ask me, how are you?
And if they ask, would you have been able to honestly answer them?
With where I'm at now, with all of my heart, I'll answer. I'll give them the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
So help us God. Because you see, for me, there's a thing I do, and I don't know if you remember, when people ask me, how are you? And I'll say, it's none of your business. And I just do it just to see who's actually listening. And more often than not, people are like, oh, hi, and they'll keep going. Then you realize they weren't there in the first place. And those who were there were like, what did you just say?
Yes.
So the question you would like to be asked is, how are you? So I'm going to put this on socials. Next time you see Pastor Gabriel, just make sure you got some time to digest his answer. And if there are issues, if you can do anything about it, make sure. If you can't, just do as us English do. Fine.
Oh, gee.
Gabriel, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
It's great to catch up.